Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Tom and we're here to go over some more hands from the Halloween poker tournament at the House Club Poker Room and Lounge here in Edinburg, Texas. This is part 3 and this is where we really hit our stride in this tournament. We start winning some big pots. Believe at the end of this one we go to the final break before the final table. So keep your eyes out for that. Also guys, just in case you haven't already, make sure subscribe. Click the bell below and it'll notify you when we release new videos. We have at least one more part coming out for this one. And then I think I have some other things that I want to start doing. Some cash games, definitely some more tournaments, but I'm interested to get out there and get some people together and play some 1-2. So if you guys are interested in doing that, let me know in the comments, or if you see me at the card house or something, just come talk to me, say what's up, and we'll get together and make these cash games happen. All right, well, let's jump into the action. All right, so we're coming into the 3,000, 3,000, 1,500 level. We are in middle position. We look down at pocket tens. After it folds to us, we decide to go ahead and make a quick raise. We bump it up to 8,600 here. And this one, we're just gonna go ahead and take down the blinds. A couple hands later, we were in the small blind. A new player had just bought in and sat down to my left, and he's in the big blind. We look down at ace-10 suited. So after it folds to us, we're gonna go ahead and put some pressure on this new opponent. We're gonna bump it up to 12,000 and see if he wants to play for a big portion of his stack. Yeah, the big blind's gonna let this one go, and we're gonna add some more blinds and antes to the stack. And in the very next hand, we are on the button. We look down at ace-king offsuit. Now the hijack jams all in for just around 10,000. The cutoff folds and it's back to me. I want some protection on this, so I go ahead and over jam, making sure that it's just gonna be a heads up. The cutoff player shows pocket threes, which is about as good as I could hope for. Pretty classic coin flip here. And let's take a look and see what happens. Well, you can't win them all. Ace-king can't hit this time, and we're gonna go ahead and send some chips over to another player. Lands later in the cutoff, we look down at queen-8 offsuit. Now we've been pretty active this time and want to keep up our image, so we probably should have bet here, but we decided to just call. Anyway, we go 4 ways to the flop with 15K in the middle. In position, we see a great flop, 4-4-8, and when it checks around to us, you better believe we're going to put some money in this pot. Don't really want to see anybody else in it, so we're going to try to bet everybody else. We go out for about 8,700, which is just over half the pot, and that's going to get the job done. Makes all opponents fold, and we scoop another pot. And in the very next hand, we see yet another playable hand. When the under the gun player jams, we look down at pocket nines. It's a pretty nice little situation to be in. The player has just under 10 big blinds, and I'm trying to figure out what his hand could be. It doesn't seem like this is something that he would do with a premium, the ace-king or aces through tens. Seems like he'd want to try to get some value from those. So it feels like he's probably got a suited ace or like a high card and an ace. So it feels like kind of like a weak steal attempt out of position. I think I'm gonna go ahead and make the call on this one. So we're heads up with 65,000 in the middle, and this is one of the most exciting hands that I've been involved in a long time, so I'm just gonna let you sit back and watch it. That's right, our opponent has ace-10 suited, just like we thought. Flop comes out king, jack, jack, and he turns the queen for the straight, and we are just about devastated until we realize there is still one card to come. Bam, the jack. The third jack's gonna give us a boat, and we are gonna scoop a major pot with a miracle river card. A couple of hands later, we are in the big blind with 3 players limp in. We look down at ace-8 offsuit. We've been running pretty good. We've won a couple of big flips, and we're ready to play. However, we just go ahead and check this one since there's so many players involved, and we see a flop of king 4-8. With middle pair and a top kicker, we go ahead and lead out for 6,000. And the bet gets around to the small blind, who quickly calls. Another example of alarm bells are ringing in my head. We are going to go heads up to the turn, which is the 6 of clubs. And this time the small blind's going to lead out for that same $6,000 bet. This is a really small bet into a growing pot. So we just go ahead and see it with some value, hoping that we can hit something on the river, but it doesn't come. The river's going to come a deuce of spades. So we now still have middle pair, with the top kicker, and we're going to try to get some value from this. We bet 12,000 after the small blind checks to us. He snap calls and turns over a king. So our attempt at thin value here blows up in our face, and we lose about 12,000 more than we should have in this hand. So after dusting off that 30K that I won in the big pot a few hands ago, we're a little tilted. We are on the button here, and our stack is back down to 80,000. We want to raise and pick up some more blinds, but we don't have a very good hand. King 3 offsuit. And because we are not paying attention, we don't notice that there is already a raise in front of us. We try to put out some raising chips, and it doesn't go very well. Everybody at the table says, "Didn't you see the raise in front of us?" And we said, "Nope. But can't play king 3 like this, so we're gonna go ahead and embarrassingly let this one go." So after a mental recovery from that little mess up earlier, we are in the hijack. We look down at ace-4 suited, and we're gonna go ahead and make that 12K raise again. And this time it is actually gonna get through, and we are gonna pick up some blinds nannies. Hope you guys are ready for some excitement now, because this is probably the biggest hand that we play in the entire tournament. In the cutoff, we look down at ace-6 suited. We make our standard bully 4x raise to 12,000, and our small blind opponent jams it all in for 26,000 total. And so when it folds back around to us, we have a bit of a decision on our hands. It is 14,000 more to win a pot of 58,000. Approximately 4-to-1 odds, so go ahead and make that call, knowing that we at least have clubs locked up. So let's just see what happens. Much to our delight, our opponent flips over king, queen of clubs, so we are feeling pretty good going to this flop. A beautiful ace of spades on the turn is going to lock that pot up for us, and we are going to scoop this monster pot and knock out another player. And in this next hand, I got a little lazy with my note-taking because I was busy scooping in a bunch of chips, but somehow I got it all in against 2 opponents with 10-7 of spades. I can't come through on the river and end up losing a small portion of what we just won. And a couple hands later, we are in the big blind. 5 players limp. I don't know what's going on here, but everybody's just trying to see as many flops as possible. I should probably be raising with any ace here. However, I decided to go ahead and just check with 21,000 already in the middle, and we are going to go to a flop 6 ways. I was going into this hand prepared to fold to any aggression. However, we flop a 5-5-6, giving us that 2 pair with a top kicker. Pretty happy about it, so we go ahead and lead out for about 8,000. We get 1 caller in middle position, and we are going to go heads up to the turn. Really not sure what our opponent has right now. When the queen of clubs comes out, we check, and he checks it back. He could still have a bunch of high cards, or even possibly a 5 in his range. So we're not really thrilled about our situation at this point, and then a king of spades comes out on the river, which is even more disappointing. So we check, and he goes ahead and checks it back. We flip over that ace-6, and turns out it's good. Our opponent had an ace-10. It was basically floating to see if we were throwing it a bluff. So the big takeaway from this hand was that we were out of position against 5 players on the flop. The small bet with 2 pair really got some cards out of the way, and I would not be surprised at all if one of the hands that folded to my small open bet was a king or a queen. So getting them out of the way really helped us profit in the long run. And finally, here we are in the small blind. The very next hand, we look down at ace-jack offsuit. After it folds to us, we are going to go ahead and make a big raise on our short-stacked big blind, put him to a test for all of it, and see what he does. Eventually, the big blind is going to let this one go, and we are going to scoop some more blinds and antes. We are going to take one last hand before the next break and count some chips. All right, well, you remember how at the last break I said that I was gonna need to have a good level on this one. Well, we had a pretty good level on this one. My stack is up to somewhere around 120,000, and I think coming back blinds are gonna be 366, 3,000, 6,000, 6,000 with the big blind ante. I've had some really good hands. The biggest pot that I played was I got it all in pre-flop. I had ace-6 of clubs. I raised from late position to 12,000. Yeah, I think blinds were 15-3-3, and I raised to 12,000. The small blind shoves, and he's got 13 more, and the odds were just too good there, so I called it off, and he showed king, queen of clubs. I hit an ace on the turn and it was over. Other than that, I think I took over one other small stack, but it's so far so good. I'm keeping on the makeup. And I think that might be doing something for me because I have a big stack and it is looking good right now. I'm feeling good. I think we're down to like maybe 14 players, 12 players. Yeah, we're down to 12 players, so we're getting close to the final table. I have a big stack. I, at this point, am going to play my cards the best that I can. I'm going to keep putting pressure on small stacks when they're in the blinds. All right, guys, well, that is going to do it for this one. Man, I sure hope y'all enjoyed it so far. A lot of action so far. If you remember, we started from the first break. Coming back, we had like 20,000, less than 20,000. We are now up to over 120,000 or something like that. I think it's like 117. But we are 11 players left. We are 1 player away from the final table. We are 5 players away from a cash. And this is where things start really getting exciting. One more video to come, and it is a doozy. A lot of action coming up in the next video, so make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. If you ring the little bell, it'll notify you when new videos come out, of which I plan on doing a couple of things in the near future. Been talking to you, a lot of you folks have been coming up to me at the card house, and I really appreciate that. You know, having support for doing something is really good, and it makes me want to keep doing it and keep making my videos better, and it makes me want to be including more people as well. So if it's something that you would like to be a part of, what I'm proposing is that we get together and make some cash games happen at the card house. I'm thinking maybe like a Sunday type of thing or something. I'm gonna get in touch with the card house guys and see if we can put something in stone. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I want drinks, I want cash game poker, and I want lots of action. So if you feel like those things appeal to you, you guys make sure to come and tell me and tell me when you want to do it. So that's gonna be the next thing that's on my list to knock out. Until then, guys, get out there and y'all keep grinding.